Well, speaking of Mary Barra, she is featured in a clip segment that Face the Nation did on this strike. She's the CEO of GM, and she made $28.98 million in 2022. Yeah, the highest paid of the three CEOs. So let's take a look at CBS's Face the Nation covering the strike and even chatting with Mary Barra.
The union is seeking a 36% raise with cost of living increases to counter inflation, the unwinding of concessions made during the Great Recession, and worker protection as the companies transition to less labor-intensive electric vehicles. They also want a 4-day work week and a return of pensions. Both are non-starters for the automakers. The big three are offering about a 20% raise.
It's a record from a gross wage increase perspective in our 115-year history. Can GM be successful if you met all their demands? Actually, no. The life of the contract, the initial demands were over $100 billion. We still have a ways to go.
GM now expects to idle a plant in Kansas, and Ford announced 600 temporary layoffs blamed on ripple effects from the strike.
It would have been nice if he had pushed back on that response where she said they couldn't afford to meet their demands and asked her what her salary was. If I were Mary Barra, I'd be so thrilled with that question.
They don't look at the numbers. The hard numbers are like we make about $210 to $250 an hour for the auto companies for every hour we work. We get about $15 an hour in compensation for our benefits and insurance. And then if we're topped out, that's $32 an hour. So they're walking away with somewhere between $175 and $200 an hour off of every hour we work. They could double our wage and it would have no effect on their bottom line.
They would still make record profits and billions of dollars. You know, they're just being greedy. Every cent that we try to take from them, they're going to fight, you know, and they think that we weren't going to notice how, you know, like how their salaries have increased so much in these past few decades, even, you know, whereas you know, they're making up for lost time, you know, raking in all their millions, and meanwhile we're still, you know, we're, like I said, we're going backwards.
I don't think people know also how hard so many of these jobs are. I don't think people have a sense of that. Can you guys share what the reality is for not just yourselves, but for your colleagues?
When I started, when I was 18, I worked putting body harnesses in the trim line, and my hands would be locked like this when I'd wake up, and I'd have to pry them open. Like, and that was making $16 an hour back then. And they still pay people the same amount that I started at in 2009. Like, they pay them the same amount today in 2023. There has been no increase. And even over the last 4 years, we've lost about 14% of our wage to inflation. So 4 years ago, when the contract was signed, I made more than I make now.
Marcy, I know you're there with your daughter. Does she,
Yeah, I'm here.
I want to know if she wants to say anything about, I know she's gone with you to protest. So is there anything you want to say? Hi.
Hi.
Are you proud of your mom?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Why is this stuff important, do you think?
For the people.
Yeah, for the people. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to tell us about your mom or what she's doing, or what you want to do when you grow up?
That I'm glad that she let me grow up this way, because I feel like it gives me another perspective on the world.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah. She says I'm tired all the time. It's like, you know, we work crazy shifts, right? These plants run 24/7. They're, you know, most of them don't have air conditioning, you know, so in the summertime it could be 100 degrees outside, and we all know with climate change, you know, it's getting worse, right? It's 100 degrees outside, it's 120 in the plant. In the paint shop, working by ovens that are 500 degrees, you know, if I have to go troubleshoot an oven that goes down, you know, it's still going to be, that radiant heat is still there, right? Or if I have to go to the rooftop to troubleshoot something up there, you know, like, yeah, it could take a toll. And not just that, but in the paint shop particularly, you know, there's exposure to fumes and other hazards.
And for so many of these people, I mean, you said this at the beginning, but for so many workers now, once they're done, they don't have anything. They don't have a pension.
Yeah, when we're done, say I do 30 years, I'm quitting. when I'm done. It's not retiring, it's quitting.
Yeah. And I have, we have a 401k, but depending on the economy and the market, the stock market, a lot of us took a hit with, our little, 401k package we had, in the last couple years, since the pandemic. It was fluctuating and I lost quite a bit of money, and that's no guarantee, right?
Chris, what is it like for you now that you're on strike? I mean, how did you react to finding out, and how did you find out you were going to be on one of the plants on strike?
We got a text from International, and then we had our break time at 10 o'clock at night. And so everyone was sitting at the break table watching Sean Fain do his speech. And we were super excited. About a half hour before we went out, Skilled Trades came through and shut down most of the machines, because yes, we want to hurt them and we want to make sure they understand that we, the workers, have the power to produce the products and make the money. But at the same time, we want a factory to come back to. A lot of us are very proud of what we make and what we do. And we want to come back to our product and make good money, and we're proud. But when we found out, there was excitement in the air. There's been excitement for weeks about it. People have been very justifiably ready to go because, especially at my plant, they've been cutting jobs. They've been combining jobs together. They've been not following safety protocols when it comes to quite a few things. I'm not going to speak on the specifics, but there's a lot of things that they're doing, especially at Stellantis, to put the screws on us. And you're talking about, like, our plant has 5,000 full-time workers and we have 1,000 temps. So 1 in 6 people is a temporary worker. That's absurd, because those people need to be here 6 days a week and they don't even get days off.
That's another way that these companies, pit us workers against each other. Right. We have people that are like, there's no good sense of morale. When you're working on the line across from somebody making double what you're making, and you think like, well, they have more protections, they have more security, job security.
There's a lot of animosity. And when I started, there was a lot of animosity because we were making, $15, $16 an hour in comparison with them making 28. It's hard to work next to someone that's making twice as much as you and they're doing the same job. So I lived through that, and I understand where they're coming from, and for solidarity purposes, we need to all be brought up to the same wage.
Which is why the no tiers is such an important part of the demands.